Hello, everyone, and welcome to the David Hittle Real Estate Show. I am your host. As always, I am David Hittle. I am a realtor with United Real Estate Louisville, and every week I try to come on and give you the latest real estate news, and that is what I intend to do today. This week, we are going to talk about what is happening with home prices. We're also going to talk about how the spring housing market could be a sweet spot for sellers. And finally, we're also going to talk about why it is so easy to fall in love with home ownership. But before we get started, I do want to invite you to visit my website, shopkentuckyhomes.com. Now, this is my real estate website, and on this website, you can do a lot of different things. You can find your next home. You can start searching, looking for your next home using specific criteria that you input yourself. You can get a computer generated home valuation of your current home. And you can get into contact with me. There's many other things on there that you can do, but those are just a few that I think are the most important. So if you haven't done so, or if you need a real estate you need a real estate professional in your life to do something real estate related, please visit my website, shopkentuckyhomes.com today, and find out what all the fuss is about. So, what is going on with home prices? What is going on with home prices? If you listen to the media, some people are saying that some of the commentators are saying home prices are going down. Some places are saying home prices are going up. Some are saying they're staying stagnant. But whenever I want to know something or whenever I want to find out about something, I don't turn to the news. The cable news, if you are familiar with the cable news or with just regular media news, you'll understand the if it bleeds, it leads. So if it's dramatic, if it's something horrible, if it's going to make people get anxiety and stress, then that is what they're going to put on the front page. That is what they're going to breaking news. That is what they're going to do. So whenever I want to know something and I don't want all the hype, all the stress, all the anxiety, I turn to the experts. So the recent changes in home prices are top of mind for many as the housing market begins gearing up for spring. Spring is usually a very good time for the home market. There are usually home sales. There are usual home buys. Homes are being transacted in the springtime, more so usually than in the wintertime. And again, it can be hard to navigate misleading headlines and confusing data. So here is what you should know about today's home prices. Now, before we get started, local price trends still vary. And I'm going to talk about local prices after I go through this national data. But local price trends will vary by market. If you live in California, price trends are going to be different than if you live in Indianapolis. If you live in Louisville, Kentucky, those price trends may be different than Lexington, Kentucky. But we will look at those individual cities as well. Natalia Polakovoninko. I have no idea. Probably destroyed that name. She has a PhD and is the supervisory economist at the Federal Housing Finance Agency, the FHFA. She explained home prices this way. She said, quote, U.S. house prices were largely unchanged in the last 4 months and remained near the peak levels reached over the summer of 2022. While higher mortgage rates have suppressed demand, low inventories of homes for sale have helped maintain relatively flat home prices. I apologize. I felt it coming. So, month over month, home prices nationwide um, have data that shows that price depreciation or going down peaked around August. And since then, any depreciation has been even milder. So, in other words, today's home prices are not in a free fall. Taking a look at the data, um, we see, and all the data is different because it's different companies that are looking at it. But for August, September, October, November, and December, we saw very slight declines in month to the month home values. Between January and June, we saw appreciations, meaning home values were going up. From July through December, we started to see that trickle back down. And that is common, believe it or not. At least here in Louisville, the Lexington area, that is common. We start to see home values start to decline as we go into winter. And it is not that your home is valued less than what it was earlier in the year. It is that less homes are selling in those periods of time. July being an exception. July is usually the middle of summer, so it's usually a bit better. But on a nationwide basis, January through June, home values were appreciating, meaning homes were selling. Homes were selling for more money than they typically were. And then July through December, we started to see less homes selling and for lower prices. But what does this mean for you? Okay. If you currently own a home, you may be concerned about even the smallest decline in prices. But keep in mind how much home values have grown over the last few years and compare that to the growth or any declines that we're seeing nationally are likely to be minimal. The chief economist at CoreLogic, Selma Hepp, put it this way. She says, quote, while prices continued to fall from November, again, this is nationwide, the rate of the decline was lower than that seen in the summer and still adds up to only a 3% cumulative drop in prices since last spring. So again, they say it clearly. It's important to remember that every local market is different. So let's take a look at our local market. If you have me on Facebook as a friend, you will, no, you won't either. I scheduled this for the 23rd. So here in a few days, if you are friends with me on Facebook or you follow me on my business page, which is facebook.com/Shopkentuckyhomes, if you do either of those, here in a few days, you will receive January's market update. But since we're talking about home prices, I wanted to get into that a little early. So in Louisville, the average sale price for January of 2023 was around $250,000. That average sale price is up from January of 2022, where it was about $243,000. So from January of 2022 to January 2023, the average sale price has increased by about $6,000, $7,000, sorry. The average list price, now sales price versus list price is different. Sales price is what the home actually sold for, the average of what the home actually sold for versus the average list price. Average list price is normally always higher because the homes that are being listed are typically existing homes, but they're newer homes that have just come up out onto the market. So average list price from January of 2022 to January, the average list price for January of 2023 is $316,180. That's the average list price. That is actually down from January of 2022, where the average list price was $318,000. So the homes that are going onto the market now that are being listed today are actually about $2,000 less than they were last year in January. So that's something that you need to think about if you are thinking about selling a home, because right now, at least for January, you are not seeing the same list prices. You're not seeing the same home values as you were in January of 2022. Sales prices, you're doing great in sales. Once your home sells, it's selling for about $7,000 more than it was last year. But when we are putting it on the market, we're looking at about a $2,000 difference. If we look at Bullitt County, again, more local market updates for you. The average sales price in Bullitt County was $279,000. That average sale price is down from January of last year, where in Bullitt County, the average sale price was $287,000. Again, looking at average list price, the average list price right now in Bullitt is $141,000, while the average list price last year was only $318,000. So the value of homes is going up. This may mean that there are more new construction homes hitting the market in Bullitt County. New construction homes, of course, always list more than existing homes typically. So the newer the home, the more expensive that home may be. So the average list price in Bullitt County is $341,000 versus $318,000 last year. Looking at my home county, Shelby County, the average sales price in Shelby County is $352,000. Big numbers there. Average sale price this year, January of 2023, $352,000. A lot of new construction going on here in Shelby County as well. That is versus last January's $307,000. The average list price is actually unbelievable for me. It is unbelievable to me, the average list price right now, but it is the data that we are seeing. The average list price right now for January 2023, $631,000. $631,000 is the average list price of a home right now in Shelby County. Wow. There are a lot of homes that are less than $630,000, but there are a lot. The average homes being listed right now, $631,000, and that is up from $607,000 in January of 2022. Looking at more local news, Frankfort, average sale price $240,000. That is up from $204,000 in January of 2022. And the average list price skyrocketed this year versus last year. Again, probably more new construction hitting the market. Average list price in Frankfort right now is $346,000 versus 255,000 in January of last year. Looking at Lexington, again, more local news. Lexington average sale price 395,000, up from last year's 321,000. And the average list price, again, an unbelievable number, $518,000. But unlike the other cities that we talked about, $518,000 is down from last year's $618,000. So the average list price in Lexington is down $100,000 from last year. And then finally, the last city that I take a look at in my market overview is Covington, Kentucky, up north, northern Kentucky. Average sale price up there is $253,000. This is up from $205,000 last year, and the average list price is $467,000 versus $345,000 last year. So when we take a look at this, year over year, we're starting to see that list prices here in our local area are mostly up from last year. They are mostly up in the average sale price and the average list price. There are some variations there. And again, here in, I think, about 4 days, that post will be posted to my Facebook page so you can actually take a look at it with your own eyes. But I did want to at least go over it since we were talking about home prices. So again, if you are thinking about doing something related to real estate, I just beg of you that you have a real estate professional in your corner. If you are purchasing a home, typically the seller pays for your agent. So if you are purchasing a home, if you are buying a home, typically 95% of the time, maybe 98% of the time, you do not pay your agent. The seller pays your agent at closing. So that is something that you may need to think about. Another thing you need to think about as a buyer is there is a myth out there that you are required to put down a 20% down payment. That is false. There are loan programs that will allow you to purchase a home for as little as 0% down. With a high of being a minimum of 5% down. So this 20% myth is irrelevant. It's overblown. It is not accurate. So if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, now is the time, or now may be the time. It may not be the time. But if you are at least thinking about it, please give me a call. Text me, send me an email. Let's sit down and look at your particular situation and find out whether now is the time to do what you're thinking about doing. Because if it is the time to buy a home, or if it is the time for you to sell your home, then you need to be prepared for that. And if it's not, then that's fine too. At least you have a realtor in your pocket, on your side, giving you the accurate information. So I want to get to know you. I want to know your situation, and I want to be able to give you the best advice possible. So if that is you, please visit my website, shopkentuckyhomes.com. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And you can find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/shopkentuckyhomes. So the spring housing market could be a sweet spot for sellers. The biggest challenge in the housing market today is how few homes there are for sale compared to the number of people who want to buy them. And that is why, if you are thinking about selling your house, this is a great time to do so. This potentially is a good time to do so. So let me illustrate the reason why it's a great time. Me and my colleague from United Real Estate Louisville, we listed a home last Thursday. We listed this home in Lexington. Now, I'm not going to tell you prices. I'm not going to tell you what it sold for because the home is still pending. I'm not going to give away confidential information. That would make me a bad realtor. Anyway, we listed this home in Lexington. It was on the market. We put it on the market Thursday at 10 a.m. By Thursday at 8 p.m., the home had been seen over 20 times in that day. We had received 7 offers, and our seller picked one. So her home was put on the market and pending. So basically, it was sold. She accepted an offer in less than 12 hours. Now, not every home is going to be like that. Her home was immaculate. She took great care of her home. Her home was beautiful. It was updated. It had everything that a buyer would want. 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, fenced in backyard, deck, porch, the whole 9 yards. It was a beautiful home. And in the future, I'll be able to tell you more about this home. But it was a beautiful home. It was immaculate. So if your home is like that now, or it can become that, which every home can become immaculate. It can be perfected with a little help, with a little knowledge. But if your home is like that, or you want it to be like that, and you're thinking about selling, you need a real estate professional in your corner. But David, they cost so much money. The average home seller that puts their home on the market with a realtor makes 10% plus what they would if they put it on the market themselves. How can you say that? Well, because the realtor does the due diligence of looking at the data, finding out what is happening in the area, finding out what is happening in the market, and make sure that whatever the seller is thinking of selling their home for, the commission, the amount of money you pay the listing agent, is in there, is factored in that price. So for my client, she owned her home outright, which is my personal dream. That's my life goal dream, is to own my own home outright. And so everything she is receiving from the sale of her home is 100% profit. Beautiful investment, and it is possible. Nonetheless, the biggest challenge in the housing market today is how few homes there are for sale compared to the number of people who want to buy them. Again, we had 20 plus showings and 7 offers. So over 20 people booked a time to go look at the home. So that could be couples, it could be a family, probably more than 20 people wanted that home or were looking at that home. 7 people put in an offer on the very first day, the very first few hours the home was on the market. So at least 7 of the 20 plus people were so interested that they were ready to make an offer and that they were ready to go. They wanted to purchase the home. One house, one home, 7 people. Now, again, may not be you, but that is still a possibility today. It can be done, but you need to have the right realtor. You need to have the right realtor doing the data, actually doing their job. Because if you don't, your home might be sitting on the market 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 days. That home was in Lexington. Lexington's average days on market right now is 31. Average days on market in Lexington right now is 31. Her home was on the market for 10 hours. So, big difference between less than a day and 32. The number of homes for sale is increasing. So competition is increasing. Here in the Louisville, Lexington area, I'm actually seeing declines. We actually are losing active inventory on the market. There is less homes on the market. I want to say for about the past 5 weeks, we've actually seen declines in the number of homes that are on the market. This is a nationwide number. 43.2% lower is the inventory nationwide than it was before the pandemic in 2017 to 2019. So what this means is that there are still fewer homes available to buy on a typical day than there were a year ago. And that's even more true here in Louisville and Lexington and those areas. I can pull the data back up. And again, here in a few days, you guys will all be able to see this data as well. The active inventory year to date in Louisville is at 1,960 homes. And that's actually up from 1,906 last year. In Bullitt County, we're at 248 versus 208. Shelby County, we're only at 140 so far for the year versus 400 last year. Frankfort, 142 active listings year to date, 122 last year. And Lexington's 568 versus 494. So year over year and year to date, most of the cities that I take a look at each month are actually up. But weekly, as I'm looking at it, it seems that the number of homes that are active on the market are actually going down. So the number of homes for sale is up from last year, but below pre-pandemic numbers. This is nationwide again. So in January of 2018, active monthly listings were just over a million, 1.042. In 2019, that number was 1.1 million. But by 2020, heading into the pandemic, it dropped to 953 in January 2020. January 2021, it was even worse at 532,000 homes. And again, this is nationwide active inventory. January of 2022 was even worse, 378,000. For 2023, we're actually starting to see it rise, 625,000, but it is still way below 2020, 2019, and 2018. So over the next couple years, we may see those numbers uptick again, and we may see more inventory hit the market. But at least here locally, we're still sitting at just about a month and a half of active inventory. About a month and a half of inventory available, putting us all in a seller's market. And even nationwide, today's low inventory means we are still in a seller's market. So if you want to take advantage of this sweet spot, spring could be your shot. And again, the housing market needs more homes for sale to meet the demand of today's buyers. So if you've been giving any thought about selling your home, we should connect so that we can sit down, determine what your particular situation is, determine where we're going to take you in the future, and make a plan for getting your home on the market, sold, and you moved on to what is next. And that is the American dream. It is part of the American dream. My client there in Lexington, she had told me that the way that she had gotten to the point where she was debt free on her home was that she started small. She bought a home way back in the day, same time as my grandfather actually bought the home that they live in. My grandfather paid, according to him, about $27,000 for their home back in the 60s. My client had done the same thing. She had bought an inexpensive home, or really expensive home back in those days, but she had bought it. And after a decade and a half, she sold it and bought another home. And after a few years there, she sold it, bought another home, and she gotten to the point where she was in this beautiful, immaculate home that she has now sold or will be selling soon. We will close on it soon. And she's moving into a condo because that is what fits her needs now. And that condo is, of course, less expensive than the home she is selling. So she is going to have a nice chunk of change left over as well. So it is amazing what real estate can do for you. It is an amazing investment. And if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, I want to sit down, I want to talk to you and find out exactly what your situation is and how I can help to get you moving towards your dream. Because home ownership is not for everyone. It is not for everyone, but it is available to everyone. You just may have to make some changes or some choices that may be painful in the moment, but will ultimately get you into a home and hopefully financial freedom as well. But here's why it is so easy to fall in love with home ownership. So no matter how the market changes, there are still some things about owning a home that never change. Some of these things are like the personal benefits that home ownership provides. When you own a home, you likely feel a sense of attachment because of the comfort it gives, and also because it is a space that is truly yours. Over the last few years, we've fully embraced the meaning of our homes as we spent more time than ever before in them. And as a result, the emotional benefits our homes provide have become even more important to us. The recent State of the American Homeowner from Unison puts it this way, quote, "One thing has stayed the same. The home continues to be of the utmost importance and a place of security and comfort." That same study provided the following facts. 91% of homeowners say they feel secure, stable, or successful owning a home. And 64% of American homeowners say living through a pandemic has made their home more important to them than ever. And it's no surprise. This study also revealed that homeowners now love their homes even more as our attachments to them have grown. So prior to the pandemic, the percentage of respondents who felt emotionally attached to their homes was only 58%. Today, that number is 70%. The National Association of Realtors, which I'm a member of, put it this way. They said, quote, "In addition to tangible financial benefits, home ownership brings substantial social benefits for households, communities, and the country as a whole." So in other words, not only does owning a home build your net worth over time, it certainly does that, but it also gives you and your loved ones a place to thrive. And by living near people with shared experiences, home ownership helps you connect with your community and contribute meaningfully. So the bottom line here is Whether you are thinking of buying your first home, moving up to your dream home, or downsizing to something that better fits your changing lifestyle, let me be the key to unlocking a home that you can truly fall in love with. And it can be hard. It can certainly be hard for those who have a hard time really affording a home. This can be difficult. Home prices are up. But in my opinion, home prices are only going to continue to go up. Home prices are not going to see a dramatic fall. You're not going to see a $300,000 home today become a $200,000 home tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. And that is because of the law of supply and demand. There is very little inventory on the market today. That's why my client's home, she listed it. It was one of the only homes for sale in her neighborhood. We priced it exactly where it needed to be priced, and the people responded. Buyers responded by saying, "Hey, yeah, this home is in the area I want to live in. It's near the amenities that I want to have. It is priced accurately, and we're willing to give you what you want for this home." And they did. So if you are thinking of selling a home and purchasing another home, you do not necessarily have to upgrade. If upgrading does not fit your needs, you can sell a home that doesn't fit your needs today and purchase a home that does fit your needs today. Maybe your children are moving out of the home and you don't need such a big home anymore. Maybe you are preparing to have children, or your family is growing. Maybe you have an elderly parent coming to move in. Maybe you do need to upgrade. Well, your home's value has increased since you purchased your home. So sitting down with a realtor will help you to determine whether or not now is the time to do what you were thinking already about doing. So if you have questions, concerns, you need answers to your real estate questions, please visit my website, shopkentuckyhomes.com today, and find out what all the fuss is about. And if you'd like to visit me on social media, you can do so. You can visit facebook.com/shopkentuckyhomes. I will be there. I'm always on there. I'm always doing something on social media. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for allowing me the time to speak with you about real estate today. It is a topic that is typically always on the mind of people. People don't get tired of hearing about real estate, and it makes it a great career for us real estate agents and us realtors out here. But I do thank you for tuning in. I thank you for sharing this video with friends and family that may be looking to buy or sell a home. And I hope that if you have a real estate need, that you will reach out. I am just a phone call, a text message, or an email away. Give me a call today if you have a need. And until next Sunday, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great day.